The headlines were brutal. The stakes were historic. And Jasmine Crockett was stepping straight into the fire. A high-stakes Senate hearing was just hours away, and the target was clear: Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett and her unflinching call for justice in urban housing policy. Her opponents? Fierce. The media? Divided. And leading the charge against her, Karoline Leavitt, the 27-year-old conservative starlet making waves with fiery cable news takedowns. The moment Crockett spoke out against discriminatory federal housing practices, the backlash hit fast. Leavitt took to Fox News, accusing her of reckless populism and financial irresponsibility. The hashtag Leavitt exposes exploded. Overnight, Jasmine became a lightning rod, lauded by progressives, vilified by the right. But Jasmine wasn't backing down. She had come armed, not with rhetoric, but with hard data, gut-punching stories from her constituents, and a burning drive to defend the people too often silenced in policy debates. Eviction rates, racial funding gaps, personal accounts of displacement. Her folder didn't just hold facts, it held lives. Her strategy team, led by policy veteran Malik Reed, was already prepping for the battle. His latest memo warned, Leavitt will come hard. Be sharper. And Jasmine was ready. As the Capitol buzzed with anticipation, influencers, pundits, and lawmakers waited for the clash. Was Jasmine a bold voice for the unheard? Or, as her critics claimed, just another headline chaser? She wasn't walking into a hearing. She was walking into a war of narratives, with real families caught in the crossfire. This wasn't just about housing. This was about truth, about power, about who gets to shape the American story. Watch until the end to see how Jasmine Crockett turns the tables, and why her showdown with Karoline Leavitt may change the national conversation forever. The Senate hearing room in Washington, D.C., pulsed with a restless energy, its marble walls and high ceilings amplifying the murmurs of a packed gallery where reporters, policy analysts, and spectators filled every seat, their eyes locked on the witness table. Jasmine Crockett sat erect, her dark green blazer a striking contrast against the rich mahogany paneling, its tailored lines underscoring the unyielding resolve she carried at 43. Her silver ring glinted under the chamber's soft lighting, a quiet emblem of her strength. Across the table, Karoline Leavitt, clad in a sharp navy suit, exuded a polished confidence, her piercing gaze and slight smirk betraying the certainty of a 27-year-old press secretary who thrived on public confrontations. The cameras, strategically positioned, hummed softly, their lenses trained on the two women, capturing every nuance of a clash that promised to ripple far beyond the room. The hearing commenced with procedural formalities, but the atmosphere shifted when Leavitt seized her moment to speak, her posture leaning forward as she launched a calculated assault. She accused Jasmine of championing wasteful urban housing programs, her words laced with insinuations of corruption and mismanagement in Dallas, each syllable designed to paint Jasmine's advocacy as reckless and her city as a cautionary tale. The accusations landed like a well-aimed salvo, prompting whispers among the spectators, their notebooks rustling as they scribbled the soundbites destined for evening news. The gallery stirred, sensing a political ambush while the cameras zoomed in, immortalizing Leavitt's poised delivery and the faint nod of approval from a few conservative staffers in the back. Jasmine remained still, her face an impenetrable mask of composure, betraying no hint of the fire kindling within her. Her fingers tightened around the silver ring, its familiar weight grounding her as she absorbed Leavitt's barbs, mentally cataloging each claim for the counterstrike she was already formulating. She reached for her folder, its pages brimming with eviction data, funding charts, and constituent stories, and opened it with deliberate precision, the soft rustle cutting through the room's tension. The gesture was subtle but unmistakable, a signal that she was not cowed but prepared. Leavitt, basking in the gallery's reaction, remained oblivious to the gravity of her attack, her confidence unshaken as she concluded her remarks, certain she had landed a decisive blow. The spectators leaned forward, their anticipation palpable, as the room waited for Jasmine's response. The air grew heavy, the faint hum of the cameras underscoring the stakes of a moment that transcended policy. Jasmine's hand rested on her folder, her eyes briefly scanning the data before returning to Leavitt, a spark of defiance igniting within her. The silver ring felt warm against her skin, a reminder of her grandmother's counsel to stand firm in the face of adversity. Leavitt's accusations, though sharp, had handed Jasmine an opening, a chance to turn the narrative on its head. The hearing room, a crucible of power and perception, stood poised for a reckoning, its walls bearing witness to a battle where truth would soon demand its due. The evening sky over Dallas deepened to a velvet dusk as Jasmine Crockett convened her team in her office, the soft glow of overhead lamps reflecting off glass walls that framed their strategic council. The sting of Karoline Leavitt's Senate hearing attack lingered, its accusations of mismanagement and corruption in Dallas fueling a fire within Jasmine, transforming her from a congresswoman into a warrior for truth. Malik Reed, her trusted policy advisor, stood at a whiteboard, a folder of evidence in hand, as he replayed Leavitt's recorded remarks on a laptop, each word dissected for vulnerabilities. The office, a nerve center of planning, hummed with purpose, the air thick with the scent of coffee and the rustle of data printouts as the team prepared to turn Leavitt's assault into her undoing. Malik's computer screen glowed with X-posts under the hashtag Crockett Fights, a digital uprising where supporters demanded a response, their avatars pulsing with defiance, while detractors labeled Jasmine a demagogue, their vitriol echoing Leavitt's narrative. Malik initiated a secure call with Emily Chun, a media strategist whose campaigns had reshaped public perception in high-profile battles. Emily, her tablet alive with analytics, proposed launching hashtag #TruthNotSpin, a hashtag designed to reframe Jasmine's advocacy as a stand against divisive manipulation, its clarity crafted to ignite viral momentum. Jasmine, her fingers grazing the silver ring on her hand, requested a comparative analysis of federal housing funds allocated to rural versus urban districts, her mind already mapping a counterargument to expose Leavitt's selective outrage. As Emily outlined her media plan, Jasmine's encrypted email pinged with a message from Kayla Brown, an anonymous staffer from Leavitt's team who had witnessed the hearing's preparation. Attached was a file that sent a jolt through Jasmine's veins. Internal correspondence where Leavitt strategized to trap Jasmine for a media spectacle, with instructions to hit urban failures hard. Jasmine forwarded the file to her team, her pulse quickening as she recognized its power to unravel Leavitt's credibility. The discovery transformed the office into a war room, its glass walls reflecting the team's shared determination. Jasmine, her resolve hardening, understood this was no longer just about defending her name. It was a crusade against a political machine that thrived on pitting communities against each other for gain. Malik leaned over his laptop, compiling a dossier of funding disparities, his fingers moving swiftly to annotate key statistics that would anchor Jasmine's testimony. Emily's tablet flashed with mock-ups of social media graphics, each frame juxtaposing Leavitt's accusations with Jasmine's data-driven advocacy, a visual call for accountability. Kayla's file, now printed and marked with highlighter, lay at the center of the table, its content a roadmap to dismantling Leavitt's narrative. The team worked late, their focus unbroken, each member driven by the shared vision of exposing manipulation through evidence, not emotion. Jasmine's gaze drifted to the window, the city's lights a constellation of hope, her silver ring a quiet reminder of her grandmother's advice to stand firm. With Malik's policy expertise, Emily's media strategy, and Kayla's damning evidence, they were poised to strike at the heart of Leavitt's campaign, ready to turn a political ambush into a triumph of truth. 2 days after the strategic war room session in Jasmine Crockett's Dallas office, the Senate committee issued a ruling accepting her supplemental materials, a decision that unleashed a firestorm across social media and beyond. The hashtag #TruthNotSpin skyrocketed to global trending status on X, propelled by a viral video of Karoline Leavitt's scathing accusations against Jasmine, now viewed millions of times. Each replay, fueling public outrage at the press secretary's tactics. Emily Chun, the media strategist, operated from a digital nerve center, coordinating a network of bloggers and influencers who crafted compelling montages, splicing footage of the Senate hearing with bold text overlays. Leavitt lies, Crockett for truth. The videos spread like wildfire, shared by activists, policy wonks, and everyday viewers, transforming Jasmine's defense into a national rallying cry against political manipulation. In Jasmine's office, Malik Reed delivered a meticulously curated dossier, its pages brimming with charts and case studies that demonstrated Dallas's urban housing programs were effective but chronically underfunded, overshadowed by disproportionate allocations to rural regions. The evidence, grounded in federal reports, stood as a bulwark against Leavitt's claims of mismanagement, its clarity a testament to Jasmine's integrity. Malik prepared Jasmine for a pivotal MSNBC appearance, handing her printed copies of Leavitt's incriminating correspondence, obtained through Kayla Brown's whistleblower leak. On air, Jasmine stood resolute in her dark green blazer, her silver ring catching the studio lights as she accused Leavitt of distorting facts to advance a divisive political agenda, her steady delivery resonating with viewers and sparking a surge in online support. The hashtag Jasmine for Justice joining the digital uproar. Protests erupted outside the Senate building in Washington, swelling into a vibrant coalition of demonstrators who brandished placards reading "Jasmine for the People," their chants reverberating through the Capitol streets. The crowd, a mosaic of students, community organizers, and housing advocates, stood united under the spring sun, their signs of bold demand for truth from a political establishment often insulated by its power. Inside her D.C. office, Leavitt secluded herself, the blinds drawn as she watched the news unfold on a muted television, her face ashen. Her fingers fumbled with her phone, frantically attempting to delete compromising messages, but the digital systems had preserved every word, a silent trap closing around her. The weight of her exposure tightened her chest, her once unshakable confidence crumbling with each broadcast. Jasmine stood at her office window, the Dallas skyline twinkling before her like a canvas of possibility. Her hand rested on a folder containing fresh data, rural funding breakdowns, and urban eviction trends, each statistic a weapon poised to dismantle Leavitt's narrative in the next hearing. Emily's tablet buzzed with analytics, showing hashtag #TruthNotSpin climbing higher, its posts now amplified by hashtag #LeavittExposed, a grassroots call for accountability gaining traction. The dossier lay on the desk, its contents a roadmap to exposing a pattern of selective criticism masquerading as policy debate. Jasmine's gaze lingered on the horizon, her mind sharp with the certainty that the decisive moment loomed. With Malik's evidence, Emily's viral campaign, and Kayla's damning leak, their strategy was a precision strike, ready to turn Leavitt's accusations into a landmark victory for truth. The Senate hearing room in Washington, D.C., crackled with a palpable intensity, its marble walls reverberating with the restless hum of a packed gallery where reporters, activists, and spectators filled every seat, their smartphones casting a faint glow as they live-streamed the proceedings to a captivated nation. Jasmine Crockett sat poised at the witness table, her dark green blazer impeccable, her eyes burning with a resolute determination that anchored her presence at 43. Her silver ring glinted under the chamber's soft lights, a quiet symbol of her unyielding strength. Across from her, Karoline Leavitt, her navy suit crisp but her posture tense, gripped a pen tightly, her youthful confidence fraying under the weight of the moment, her eyes darting nervously as the cameras trained on her every move. Malik Reed, Jasmine's policy advisor, stepped forward with a commanding air, his folder brimming with evidence as he launched into a presentation, projecting a series of graphs onto a large screen that illustrated rural regions receiving disproportionately higher federal housing funds per capita compared to urban centers like Dallas. The data, stark and irrefutable, silenced the room, its clarity dismantling Leavitt's narrative of urban mismanagement. The gallery gasped as Malik unveiled a series of Leavitt's internal messages, obtained through Kayla Brown's whistleblower leak, revealing her plan to target Jasmine for X trends to boost her political profile. The correspondence, time-stamped and verified, exposed a calculated campaign to discredit urban leaders, prompting murmurs of disbelief among the spectators. Kayla Brown, a former Leavitt staffer, took the stand, her testimony measured but devastating as she detailed how Leavitt manipulated funding data to paint cities as failures, prioritizing media optics over truth. Her words landed like a thunderbolt, the spectators shifting in their seats, their notebooks rustling as they captured the unraveling of Leavitt's credibility. Outside, the chants of protesters, "Leavitt, apologize," swelled into a rhythmic roar, their voices seeping through the chamber's windows, a relentless tide of public dissent amplified by the hashtag #TruthNotSpin campaign raging online. Leavitt, her face etched with panic, stared at the screen as Malik displayed her own messages, their explicit intent to bury Crockett, stripping away her public persona, leaving her exposed under the room's harsh scrutiny. Jasmine watched, her hand tightening around her silver ring, its familiar texture grounding her as Malik leveled a searing accusation, charging Leavitt with systematically distorting truth to divide communities for political gain. The committee chair, his brow furrowed, leaned forward, his gaze shifting between the screen and Leavitt, whose composure shattered as a tremor ran through her hands. The gallery erupted in shouts, the spectators' outrage spilling over as Senate staff struggled to restore order, their commands drowned by the chaos. Malik remained unflinching, his presentation a relentless barrage that dismantled Leavitt's defense with surgical precision. Leavitt, overwhelmed, buried her face in her hands, her shoulders shaking as her once assured demeanor collapsed, each falter a silent admission of defeat. Jasmine sat steady, her resolve unshaken, her eyes reflecting a quiet triumph as the hearing room, once a stage for Leavitt's ambitions, became the crucible where truth surged to the forefront, reshaping the narrative in her favor. The morning sun rose over Dallas, its gentle light bathing the city in a serene glow that seemed to herald the Senate committee's transformative ruling, which echoed far beyond the marble halls of Washington. The committee had validated Jasmine Crockett's arguments, mandating a comprehensive review of federal housing fund allocations to address urban inequities. While Karoline Leavitt issued a public apology, her once formidable reputation as a conservative firebrand now tarnished by her exposed manipulations. Social media erupted in celebration, the hashtag Crockett wins dominating X, its posts a tidal wave of triumph. While a video of Malik Reed's damning evidence presentation amassed 15 million views, each frame a testament to the power of unassailable truth. The protests that had besieged the Senate building morphed into jubilant gatherings, with thousands converging in a Dallas park, their placards proclaiming truth prevails in vibrant hues, a vivid tapestry of victory under the spring sky. Jasmine took the stage on a makeshift platform, her dark green blazer catching the sunlight, her silver ring glinting as a symbol of her unbroken spirit. Her eyes shone with dignity as she addressed the crowd, her gestures acknowledging the collective faith in justice that had sustained her fight. The crowd, a diverse coalition of activists, workers, and students, cheered, their voices a chorus of shared resolve, their signs a pledge to continue challenging divisive narratives. News outlets amplified the moment, with CNN crowning Jasmine a voice of justice, their anchors dissecting her stand with reverence, while Fox News, in a rare concession, acknowledged her as a force for change, a nod to her undeniable impact. In stark contrast, Leavitt secluded herself in her suburban home, the curtains drawn as she watched the news unfold on a flickering screen, her face a mask of hollow resignation, her political ascent halted by the weight of her miscalculations. Malik Reed returned to the Dallas office, where an email from a housing activist awaited, its words brimming with gratitude for his role in reshaping policy discourse. Malik pinned the letter to a bulletin board beside a copy of the committee's ruling, a quiet monument to their strategic victory. Jasmine stood at her office window, the city's skyline stretching before her, its lights a constellation of hope. The ruling's ripples spread swiftly. Advocacy groups launched campaigns for equitable funding, and community leaders invited her to speak, her testimony now a cornerstone in policy reform discussions. Her focus remained forward, her mind envisioning a future where truth could bridge divides. Her fingers brushed the silver ring, its familiar weight a reminder of her grandmother's counsel to stand firm. Social media continued to pulse with her name, exalite with posts that celebrated her as a catalyst for unity. The hashtag #TruthNotSpin joined by hashtag #EquityNow, a growing call for fairness. The victory belonged not just to her, but to every community pitted against another by political rhetoric, a new era dawning where truth could unite rather than divide, forcing even the most divisive voices to confront their own biases.
If this story touched your heart, don't forget to like. If this story
Comment
touched
and
your
subscribe
heart,
for more.
don't forget to
Your
like.
support helps us
Comment
keep
and
sharing
subscribe for
powerful
more.
stories that
Your
matter.
support helps
What
us
did this
keep
story
sharing
mean to you?
powerful stories
Let us
that
know
matter.
below.
What did this story mean to you? Let us know below.